everybody. Hope everybody is doing well and having a good weekend. But today I've got a video coming for you about how to choose the best partner or relationship when you have mental health issues, whether it be anxiety and OCD like I have, or if it's depression or bipolar disorder, what have you. There are some characteristics that you really need to be looking for when you're searching for a partner, whether it be a girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband. It's going to make your life a lot easier if you can find someone with the characteristics that I'm going to talk about. So let's get right to it. Come on in and follow me on the steps to finding a good mate. So first, I want to talk about something that's very important, a very important characteristic, okay? Patience. Yes, patience. If you don't have a partner who is patient, good luck to you. Because if you have mental health issues, you know that you can be a lot. Your problems can be a lot, your symptoms can be a lot. And if the person you're with is not patient with you and understanding about what it is that is happening to you when you're going through your symptoms and when you're going through tough times with your health issues, it's going to make your life a lot harder. So patience is so important. And so I got my list here because I didn't want to forget any of the characteristics that I came up with, because all of these characteristics are important to me. And I think they are important and should be important to anybody with mental health issues. But everybody's needs will be different, of course. So you can take in the characteristics that you think will work for you and that you need, and the other ones discard. But I think all of these are going to be important. So that's why I wrote them down. And patience was the very first one. Knowledgeable about what you're going through. So obviously, if you meet somebody, they're probably going to not know right away about your mental health issues. Once you tell them, they may or may not be familiar with what you're experiencing. I have never met anyone who actually knew what OCD was, or having an anxiety attack, what that felt like, or anything like that. So I've always had to explain to them what happens, how I feel, my symptoms, what it's about. I have yet to have probably anyone go and do research and actually look into what it is that I am telling them. And I cannot fathom why they wouldn't. If you're going to have someone in your life who is going to be loving you, being around you all the time, being with you, perhaps if you're married, living together, they should know what it is you are experiencing, what you're suffering from. How can they know that if they don't do research? Research ain't hard. You can go to Google, you can go to your computer, just type in OCD, anxiety, all kinds of information comes up. So someone who is willing to do that is going to be better able to help you through your bad mental health issue days. And you know, if you have mental health issues, you know those bad days. It is so helpful if you have somebody that is sitting next to you that understands kind of what it's all about. So somebody who is willing to learn if they are not already knowledgeable. So I always usually have people ask me, and they want me to continually tell them what it is that I'm experiencing, what it's about. And I always think, why don't you go look it up? Why don't you read about it? Like sometimes I can't explain it in detail, but in reading books or in reading material or articles about it and looking at other people's scenarios, you can always learn and then be compassionate and then also maybe relate better. So find somebody who's willing to learn and somebody who's willing to be knowledgeable, because guess what? If they're knowledgeable about what you're experiencing, they are going to be more patient. That's fact. Let's get to the next one. This one is important to me, and it will differ from person to person. Consistency. Consistent. Someone who is willing to be consistent. And I believe that if you're in a relationship with someone, this actually comes natural. Depending on how well you mesh with the other person and how well what your wants and needs are meshed together, consistent and being consistent is not that hard. So what does consistency look like? Well, for me, consistency looks like being there. Doing what you say you're going to do, being there when you say you're going to be there, showing up when you say you're going to show up, having a kind of routine, weekly, daily thing where we connect. That's what I consider consistency. And it's not hard, I don't think. It's not hard for me to be consistent when I'm with someone who is consistent and we're consistent together with each other. Because what happens is that if you really are into someone and you really like them or you really love them, wow, why wouldn't you want to connect with them regularly, daily, checking on them, checking on each other, seeing about each other? And it doesn't work being a one-sided thing where I'm checking and you're not, or I am being consistent and you're not. So consistency is huge for me. And the way that consistency works or how consistency is seen will be different, I guess, for each individual. But that's what it looks like for me. But finding someone who is consistent, I think, is so important. The next one I got is supportive. Okay. So if you think about it, in the last steps that I just said or just gave you, patience, right? You had patience. We had knowledgeable or willing to learn. We've got consistent. And if they're doing all of those things, being patient, supportive, and consistent, guess what? They're going to be so much better for you. So, being supportive, what does that look like? Being patient is being supportive. Being knowledgeable and willing to learn is being supportive. Being consistent, right? It's being supportive. Because if you're doing all of those things, then you're supporting me throughout my journey with being well. So finding someone who is supportive, who is capable of being there and just being there for you. Being there for you while you work through your issues and while you're trying to get better. And it's a lifelong journey. So having these characteristics in a mate are so important. So let's go to the next one, which is OMG. So important. Trustworthy. Now, any of my OCD sufferers out there and anxiety sufferers out there know that your mind and those thoughts, those negative thoughts, they get stuck over and over and over again, especially when you're in a relationship. They get worse when you're with somebody who is not trustworthy. Guess what? So you have these thoughts, right? Oh, this is happening. Then most of it, they're not true, right? But if you're dealing with somebody who's dishonest and they've already told a few lies, when those thoughts start coming, thoughts that may not be true, you start thinking, well, maybe they are true because he just lied yesterday. So why couldn't this be true? If you're dealing with someone who is trustworthy, guess what? When those thoughts come, you go, no, he hasn't shown me that. No, he has not lied to me. So I don't believe that. No, I don't believe that. Guess what? It makes it a little easier to dispel those rumors in your head. But if you've got someone that is a little shaky in that area, good luck. I know, because it will run rampant and things that may not be happening will seem to be happening in your head. And then you will validate them by the fact that he lied about this, that, or the other before. Having someone who's consistently trustworthy is important. It's important for your symptoms. It's important for your life recovery and being well and being able to coexist in a relationship, I believe. So let's get to the next one. How about not ashamed of you? Not ashamed of your mental health issues. Wow, is that not important? I don't know how I could date someone that was ashamed of my mental health issues. How can I feel proud and supportive of myself if I'm with someone who's looking down on me because I suffer from mental health issues, or somebody who has this stigma in their head about what I'm suffering? That is so important. I'm going to tell you right now. If you have someone in your life who's ashamed of your illness, it's going to make it harder for you because it's going to affect the way you think about yourself. You're sitting next to someone and they don't value you as a person simply because you have mental health issues. My God, that's a horrible situation. So make sure that the person that you're with is not ashamed. They should be actually proud of you, not looking down on you, because people with mental health issues are strong people. And there's this idea that, oh, you're weak and this. Do you know what it takes to get up in the morning when you have OCD and anxiety? If you don't suffer from it, you wouldn't know. It takes a lot. We are strong people. We are not weak. And if you think about yourself as weak, you need to change your thinking, because the average person could not deal with what we deal with on a daily basis and still get up and be strong. So if you are a person who has somebody in your life who is hiding your illness or being secretive about it because they're ashamed or don't want to talk, they don't want to talk about it, or they brush you off, or they act like it's not happening, pretending like it's not there so they don't have to deal with it. Not good. So make sure that, again, supportive of you and not ashamed. So let's get to the next one. We're almost done. How about a good communicator? Now, who doesn't want a good communicator? And if you are suffering with OCD and anxiety or any other health issue dealing with mental, then you are definitely going to want to have someone that you can talk to, in a mate. Because if you don't, on those bad days, and we have them, when you don't feel good, you don't feel well, and your symptoms are going off the chart, and you can't look over and have a conversation with someone about it, or you can't just have a general conversation and convey, and they also be able to speak back to you with kind words and also be able to communicate with you so that you can help yourself feel better. Wow. I can't even imagine that. Now, I'm going to tell you that I have experienced it. When I say I can't imagine it, I couldn't imagine it long term, because it would be really hard to do that. Especially, mental health issues, it's a lifelong journey for most of us. So you have to have somebody who is willing to be a good communicator. And if they're not willing to work on it, that is so important. So we are getting to the last characteristic on my list. I should have remembered this one because this is like the most important to me. Someone who is loving. Oh my goodness. And what do I mean? I mean, loving you. People don't actually really know what it means to really love somebody, I think. And I'm not talking about superficial love, this little, puppy love, butterflies love. I'm talking about when you see someone at their worst, they're having their worst day, they're having their worst life, and you love them anyway. You're there for them, you're fighting for them, you're praying for them. You're just being the support system that they need. Loving them, and guess what? Still there. Because love to me is not that thing where when things get hard and difficult, you're out. You can't be found. You're MIA, missing in action. And a lot of times I see situations where people claim to love so much. Oh, they just love you. And then you have a bad mental health day. And guess what? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Do you really love me? This is a hard one. And this is important because the love that will come from a mate, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend in a relationship will help you through those hard mental health days. Will help you. It for me, it even eases my symptoms, makes me feel better, makes me feel stronger, knowing that I have somebody who's in my corner. I can call them when I'm not feeling that great, and they love me, and I don't have to worry about them disappearing or going anywhere. So important. If you're with someone and you're starting a relationship with someone and it doesn't feel like they know how to love, or they feels like they are going to pack up and jet out at the first sign of trouble, it's probably not going to be good for you to consider them as a lifelong mate or consider them in a relationship, because it's going to hurt you deeply. As people who suffer from mental health issues, we already tend to have self-esteem issues, because you feel a certain way about having mental health problems. And then you have this person who could just pack up and leave at any moment, because guess what? They're not invested. And, they're not in it for the good, the bad, and the ugly, times. They only want the good times, and they only want to love you when it's easy and convenient. No, no, no. Loving like God loves us. God loves us unconditionally, mercifully, with grace, constantly. It's constant. That's the kind of person that I want loving me. And I'm not saying that this person that you find has to be so perfect, but geez, having the ability and capability to love deeply. And I'm still working on that myself. It's a hard journey, but somebody who's willing to try to do that, so important. So that is the end of my list. And those are some characteristics that I think are important for people with mental health issues. Now, you may have some characteristics that you want to share. You can do so in the comments. Let me know if you have any other characteristics that you want me to talk about. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. And also subscribe. Please, because this is a journey that we all have to go on, and we can help each other. So come on. Let's get into this thing. And let's try to have lifelong healing, wellness. That's what it's about. So take care of yourself and take care of others. And I will talk to you next time. Bye, YouTubers.